Greetings, friends, and welcome to another Sunday service from Sunburst Sanctuary. My name is David, and today I'll be talking on the healing practice of forgiveness. And it's also Palm Sunday, and when I think about forgiveness, and I think about this time of year, I'm reminded of Jesus very easily, because he left such a big mark on the world when it comes to forgiveness, loving thy neighbor, turning the other cheek, all of the things that he spoke about in his ministry. And on Palm Sunday, the significance of this day is that he returned to Jerusalem and rode into that city on a donkey. And riding in on a donkey was significant because it really gave him the image and the idea that he was truly a Prince of Peace. If he was a conquering king, he would be riding in on a steed, and he would be conquering and causing havoc. But in Jesus' life, he was always interested in reaching people's souls through peace, through love, through understanding, through compassion. And later on, after Palm Sunday, later on that week, he would make the statement, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And when I meditated on this, I realized for myself that this is the entire teaching of what Jesus had to offer. He came to help us realize that forgiveness is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves and give to the world. That by hanging on to problems and hanging on to resentments, we only slow down the evolution of consciousness for ourselves and for the planet. And we may not right now feel like we are living anywhere near to the level of consciousness that Jesus was. But it doesn't mean that we still can't learn from the things that he had to offer. He didn't come here to be set up as a God to be worshipped. He came here as an example of a brother, someone that we could pattern our lives after if we chose to, and try to live up to the standards that he set for the planet. No longer the eye for an eye and the lawful terms of the old way, of the Old Testament, but a new way, a way of love and of understanding. So how is it that we can learn to forgive when forgiveness is not always coming easy to us? Because let's face it, we are faced with things in our lives, situations in our lives where someone's behavior, and maybe even our own behavior, has been so egregious that it almost seems unforgivable. Jesus was able, from his vantage point where he could see the crowd jeering him and tormenting him, and he had been wounded so painfully that at that point in his life, he could still look out and experience that and have forgiveness. How can we learn how to forgive, learn how to turn the other cheek and offer the olive branch that he spoke about? In meditating on this, what I realized was that in Jesus' statement, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do," is the simple key to every situation that we find ourselves in, where forgiveness could be healing, where forgiveness could be embraced. And it revolves around the idea that whatever we do, for the most part, people are doing the best that they know how. And it is the ignorance that possesses our consciousness that does not allow us to have a complete picture of what the current situation is. And so we do things, we stumble. We stumble around in the darkness of ignorance, in the darkness of misunderstanding, and we make mistakes. And when we can realize that, then we can see that people's intentions and even our own intentions were most likely never that bad. We just were operating from a point of darkness. There was no light in the room. We couldn't see what we were doing. Ultimately, to have the kind of forgiveness that Jesus had, it means to deepen our own conscious awareness. Because as we begin to dive deep into conscious awareness, our consciousness begins to change and our heart also begins to transform. And it gives us the ability to more naturally remember the perspective that people are doing things not because they're trying to hurt us. We're not doing things because we're trying to hurt others. We're doing things because we just don't have the complete picture and we're making mistakes, which is human. So when we are in that situation and we realize, I just don't have the ability right now to have the forgiveness in my heart that I know I want, then it can help to have a perspective of where does this stream of consciousness come from that we are connected to? And to remember that we're all, each and every individual, connected back to that same stream of consciousness and eventually returning to it. I would like to read today an excerpt from one of Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda's writings, where he talks about this eternal connection to the consciousness that we're all part of. This is a couple of paragraphs from a much longer talk. The talk is titled "The Spectrum of Spiritual Consciousness." Consciousness in its essence is ever pure. It engages in all actions, both good and evil, yet remains unaffected and untarnished. A sword may cut a leaf and become stained by it, yet the sword itself is not changed. Such is consciousness. A sword that has been used to kill an innocent man is condemned as evil. A sword that has been used to destroy a wicked enemy is honored as virtuous. Similarly, when consciousness is used to do good things, it is called spiritual consciousness. And when it is used to do wrong, it is called evil consciousness. Just as a river has a source, so the river of consciousness has a source. It descends from cosmic consciousness, the consciousness of God that is beyond all creation. When cosmic consciousness comes into the realm of matter, into each of the atoms that make up the planets and island universes, and the different form of plant, animal, and human life, that consciousness is called Christ consciousness. When Christ consciousness descends into the soul and pure mind of man, it is called superconsciousness. When superconsciousness ascends into the realm of imagination, it is called subconsciousness. When subconsciousness descends into the muscular and sensory phase of human life, it is called human or waking consciousness. When waking consciousness becomes attached to the senses and material things, it is called worldly consciousness. And when it is used to harm oneself or others, it is called evil consciousness. But when it is used to do good things and to produce attunement with God, then it is called spiritual consciousness. These are the steps by which cosmic consciousness makes its entry into human consciousness, descending from spirit into the body and into our material and spiritual desires. I find it helpful just to mentally have that understanding, to know that the consciousness that I came from originally, and the consciousness that each one of us, everyone on the planet came from originally, is tied to cosmic consciousness. And as it makes its way out into the creation through these different levels and these different understandings of consciousness, and arrives in these bodies, and we start to attach to the sense pleasures and to the ego identity, it becomes worldly consciousness. So if I see myself, or if I see my friends, or if I see others around me doing things that require forgiveness, it's a good reminder to me to realize that they come from that same cosmic source, that I come from that same cosmic source, and to offer a blessing of forgiveness upon myself and upon those around me, and to not hold on to or carry around a bag full of resentments that are doing nothing and serving no higher purpose, but only keeping us bound tighter and tighter to this world of imagination, which we believe and we think so dearly is the only reality that there is. But we know deep in our hearts, deep in our souls, there is a deeper reality. And that's why we get together and we meditate together. And we speak of these higher understandings to help inspire ourselves and others on towards that deeper, greater, beautiful world of spirituality that lies within. Jesus was able to exemplify this through the entirety of his 3-year ministry, and most likely for many, many years before that. And he was able to exemplify it with great victory at his darkest hour. And it's a blessing. His life, his message, has been a blessing for this planet and continues to be for each one of us who brings it into our hearts. I invite you to join me for a quiet period of meditation where we can close our eyes and look within and contemplate on that deep, deep connection through the stream of consciousness that each one of us has, to find it within ourselves, and to meditate on the wonderful gift of forgiveness that we have been taught by Jesus and so many more who came before and who have come since. After meditation, I have a couple of more short things that I would like to share with everyone about forgiveness So please join me now for a quiet meditation. Welcome back from our meditation time together. I hope everyone was able to find that deep peace that we always seek during meditation and maybe receive some insights, our own soul speaking to us. What a blessing that is. I wanted to say a little bit more about forgiveness today. And I recently learned in the Arabic language that the word for forgiveness is the same as the word for freedom. So in Islam, the path to freedom is the path of forgiveness. And whatever situation we might find ourselves in, whether we're Christian, Islamic, Jewish, Hindu, whether we believe in anything or not, if we can find the path of forgiveness within us, forgive those who have transgressed against us, forgive ourselves for the things that are in the past that we may have done that we're not particularly proud of, that through that forgiveness we find freedom. That is the freedom that Jesus possessed when he hung on the cross and forgave those and asked God to forgive them. The ultimate freedom of Christ consciousness, which he was possessed of completely. And as Yogananda explained, Christ consciousness is the consciousness that is present in all living forms. That is why Jesus could say that not a sparrow falls that God is not aware of, because that consciousness is everything. There is no separation. We are connected completely to all of creation through this Christ consciousness. It's not a matter of are we or aren't we. It all comes down to and is a matter of our perception of that consciousness. So through the practice of virtuous living and meditation, maybe walking in nature, doing things that feed our soul, that Christ consciousness begins to awaken within us. That same consciousness that Jesus had, that he came here to point the way to for all of us. And we might think, well, I just don't have the ability to be that forgiving. And you know what? That's okay. Consciousness is an evolution. And we have to accept ourselves for where we're at. And then move forward, move onward, expand out from there. It's better to just say, yeah, I can't forgive right now, than to try to fool ourselves and say, well, I do forgive, but you really don't. Just work on deepening your connection with Spirit. And the forgiveness will come. It just will over time. The great saints and sages were never holding on to resentments. They had expanded so far beyond that level of consciousness. And that's where we're all headed. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. And I hope that you have a wonderful week leading up to Easter, and that you'll join us again next Sunday for our very special Easter meditation. Thank you and goodbye for now.
I don't want pass again. No, I never want to let them pass again. Let the old feelings die, push them all aside. Shame the old devil in his empty-handed lies. Truth is alive, I wouldn't be surprised if I felt it living, dancing in your eyes. If I felt it living, dancing in your eyes. Let us take the time, reflect on what we live. Is every moment spent trying to give? Oh Lord, what is my life today if I have not felt your love and given it all away? If I have not felt your love, given it all away. If I have not felt your love, given it all away. Oh Mother, we are blessed to hear your song, but who am I if I do not sing along? I'm truly grateful what you've given me today, but I can hardly wait to give it all away. No, I can hardly wait to give it all away. No, I can hardly wait to give it all away. In the early morning light, brilliant or blazing bright, it's our Father's holy